And greetings, everyone. Welcome back to Gen X Cinema. Hope y'all are having a wonderful Friday evening. And tonight and next week, and everything, we're going to be discussing the Shrek franchise. The four canonical movies, not all the little holiday specials that they've done over the years, and not all the little other um, little shorts and so on that they've done over the years. We're talking Shrek 1 through 4. So, and with me, I've got two of my oldest, dearest friends. You know them, you love them. If you don't, what's wrong with you? These people are awesome, and I love them. And obviously, they love each other because they got married.
Yes.
Of course, the one and only Alicia Victoria Parker, AVP, although I guess her initials should be AVF now, and her better half, Mr. Jack Beers. Jack, Alicia, good to see you both. Thank you all for being here tonight.
Hello.
And to everybody out there in YouTube land, hope you all are having a wonderful night too. Hope you all enjoyed the discussion we're going to have this evening. And as always, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that share button. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, I ask you, what are you doing? Why aren't you subscribed? Why? Why are you not subscribed? Subscribe to the channel. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. Yet.
Just in time.
I'm kidding. It will never, unless by some miracle I ever am able to reach monetization level, I may put on super chats and stuff, and I may do memberships. But for right now, it don't cost you nothing to be part of Gen X Cinema, and you don't even have to be a member of Gen X. I can't remember. Are you two Gen X? Were you born in before 70? Before
we were born
80?
after.
Yeah.
He's 83. I'm 85.
You're Gen X plus one, just like Madman Master.
That's why you love us.
Hey, she's over here giving me the little finger, and I don't know why. I said she's. You are. I'm just saying Gen X plus one.
I don't consider myself the plus one because how I was raised growing up, it took me a while to catch up. Actually, when I met you.
Fair enough.
So
Okay.
that's all.
Anyway, just like Shrek has ogres, and just like Shrek is an ogre and has layers, we all have layers too. And tonight we're going to be talking about Shrek and Fiona and Donkey and Lord Farquaad and the fairy godmother, who is more like a fairy god bitch.
Yes, and her lovely son, Prince Charming.
Prince Charming, more like Prince douchebag.
Wait a minute.
Right? And he's Prince Vain, too.
Vain? No. The guy that Carly Simon did the song about, "You're So Vain," he was less vain than Prince Charming is.
Fair enough.
Huh? We're doing 1 and 2.
Two's my favorite.
Well, I'm sorry, honey, but
It's my fault. You told me I forgot.
yeah, I told you we're doing 1 and 2, and next week doing 3 and 4. From the gallery, my wonderful wife, who I love dearly, and I do mean that. I'm not just sucking up to her because she's within easy throwing distance of hurting me. Mommy, don't hurt Daddy. Mommy, don't hurt Daddy. Anyway, let's get these festivities started. Although we kind of have already. Shrek, the original Shrek came out in 2001, if I remember correctly. Okay,
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it was when that Smash Mouth song "Rockstar" was a hit.
Yeah. Well, it was
All-Star.
actually a hit because there was another movie that I reviewed many years ago called Mystery Men that also featured that song.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but yeah. And let's just say that Dreamworks was taking a few pot shots at another animation studio. Disney!
Yes, because of
Yes, they were.
So the owner, the guy who started DreamWorks, used to be part of Pixar. He was like the head of Pixar.
Yeah, Jeffrey
he was.
Katzenberg.
Correct.
And there's this whole thing about how when Pixar and Disney first teamed up to make Toy Story, Disney wanted Woody to be a little less kid friendly. They wanted him to be kind of a jerk,
Right.
and nobody liked it, and they were going to cancel the movie until they retooled Woody to be more likable, and then that's how that took off. But yeah, so
And yet
they had a rivalry ever since then, and so this guy here, who's now, who goes and makes the Shrek movies, he's like taking pot shots at Disney. You're right.
Yeah, because this is a fairy tale, and it starts off with Shrek sitting in the outhouse, literally the outhouse, because well, he's in the
Yes.
middle. It's my swamp.
My swamp.
Yes.
What are you all doing in my swamp?
Get off of my land.
Yes, but this. If you're wondering what Donkey's voice is doing off camera, Mammoth Bastard is putting batteries in the voice in the electronic device that makes him talk.
So I heard that originally Mike Myers had an American accent for Shrek, and then he changed his mind and changed it to a Scottish accent.
Correct.
And redid all his lines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he.
But you know what? I think
all powers.
throw him.
Oh,
I actually caught him.
Donkey!
Okay.
What's up, everybody?
That is cute. I love it.
I actually caught him, and he said, "I think I need a hug," so I gave him a hug.
Oh.
Do you feel better, Donkey?
He wants some waffles.
A donkey fly.
And of course, my wonderful third co-host tonight is, of course, the Donkey, voiced by the one, the only, Mr. Eddie Murphy. And yeah, as you were saying, Jack, with Mike Myers and Shrek, I don't think we could have. I don't think a English sounding Shrek would have an English accent, American accented Shrek would have been as awesome as a Scottish accented Shrek. And I think honestly that was probably one of the best decisions that they did for this franchise.
I agree.
Oh yeah,
especially because of the way he calls Donkey.
Donkey.
That's how I call him now. Like, I don't call him a donkey. I just call him Donkey.
Donkey.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you've got two other. At the time, they weren't known for their voice acting. They were more on-screen actors. Of course, you got Cameron Diaz as Fiona, and you've got John Lithgow as Lord Farquaad. And let's just say that Lord Farquaad is trying to compensate quite a bit and very often in this movie.
Yes. You couldn't do that in a Disney movie.
Because he's very short of stature. There are people who might think little of him. He's vertically challenged.
Yes, and he's got a massive ego.
To make
a massive ego, but very short stature.
Yes.
But the first movie, it was just a complete and total spoof of the entire fairy tale where the handsome knight rescues the beautiful damsel in distress. Yet Fiona's not exactly your classic damsel in distress, because as we see later on in the movie, after she is freed from the castle by Shrek and Donkey, she kicks the ever-loving snot out of Robin Hood and his merry men.
Yep.
Yeah, she goes all Matrix mode at that point.
And just as a reminder, because the first Matrix movie came out, like, I think was 2 years before Shrek did. So that at the time was kind of breaking the fourth wall, just not with dialogue, but with visuals. Correct. Because every movie around that time had to have like the Matrix spin and the slow mo or the stop camera and everything. But when I saw the trailer for this, when they were running this, I was like, it's a fairy tale, but it's not. I gotta check this out. And I remember going to see this in theaters, and I sat there pretty much the entire time laughing my head off because this movie was just a laugh riot. So, Jack, Alicia, let me ask you: did y'all get a chance to see this when it came out in theaters, or did y'all catch it on home video after the fact?
So I got it on home video afterwards, but I remember I remember the trailers. I remember it came out. Another thing that's interesting to note is with that bullet time thing that she does actually is also parodied in a way for Charlie's Angels that she does years later for Cameron Diaz.
True. Yeah.
So that's kind of like
that's
shows
right.
that so it's kind of interesting to see her be this action princess, and then you see her as this action star in Charlie's Angels. I'm like, okay, she can do both animation and live action.
Yeah, she went from damsel in distress in The Mask to Charlie's Angel.
But she's hardly a damsel in distress because she defends herself against Donkey and also Shrek. And then we find out that Dragon. So here's the funny thing I really found funny. I don't know if anybody else did, but to see that Dragon, you think, oh, Dragon's is male. But then you find out, no, Dragon is actually a female.
How do you tell it's a female? Because it has eyelashes.
I think it's the lips, basically.
Lips and the eyelashes and the fact, well, like
a lady dragon.
And I mean, I'll say this: that's one badass dragon,
and she's very attracted to Donkey.
Yeah, kind of interesting cross-species relationship there.
Yeah.
Interspecies erotica.
That reference, Jack. You forget I am a fan of Kevin Smith's spoof movies.
I was going to add fucko to the end of it, but I didn't want to be cruel.
But that is one Donkey show you don't want to forget.
Yeah, I just got one. The one thing I'm wondering. How do well, I mean, I guess we can hold off on this until the third movie, but I'm just going to ask this question now. We can broach it. We can discuss it further when we get to Shrek 3. How in the hell do a donkey and a dragon have sex?
I don't know, but here's
the back to Clerks 2. I'm kidding.
So the thing that's interesting is because obviously, and we're skipping ahead a little bit, but with number 2, we see the altered version of Shrek and Donkey where they're in their like human and horse form. We don't get to see, and we also get to see Fiona in her human form, and it said it would affect the person that they loved. So what happened to Donkey during Donkey's love dragon? Because we never saw what she looked like. Because obviously she would have transformed at that point too, because she's Donkey's love.
So what would she have been? Or
maybe another donkey, but here's the thing. We don't know. The thing is, we assume that Dragon got pregnant in between 2 and 3.
Yes.
So the question becomes, was she in dragon form at the time? Because I would assume that she would be, because her and Donkey don't meet back up in Shrek 2, at least not that I recall anyhow.
No, not until the very end credits scene, basically.
Once upon a time, Maleficent was a dragon in season 4, and she was a human form, and as a dragon, she laid the egg, and then she returned to human form. So I'm just saying that's a possibility.
Oh, for Dragon?
Yeah, to turn into. It turned out that the daughter that she had on the Once Upon a Time show was actually Zorro. Zorro was a dragon. So I'm just saying it's possible for the dragon to have gone to another animal or into a human being or whatever. Just use your imagination.
I don't think I want to use my imagination here. I don't think I want to envision a dragon and a donkey mating, because that just seems wrong somehow. We can discuss this further and everything when we get to Shrek 3.
Like another Mike Myers quote, how could he physically do it? The mechanics of it are mind-boggling.
Yeah, and I do want to say hello to the chat, CJH. It's been my young friend. Good to see you. And no, it's still Ambassador. It's just the channel's name is Gen X Cinema now. So, that's the only thing that's changed. And here's the other thing too with this movie, it takes the trope of the classic fairy tale villain and it also turns it on its head because let's be honest here, Lord Farquaad is not at all intimidating. He's an ass, he's a conceited, he's a blatherskite, but he's not really villainous per se, and we don't really understand why he relocates all the fairy tale creatures. I mean, like, dude, think about this. You have got fairy tale creatures populating your land. You could open, and your kingdom is set up like a theme park, a very creepy and disturbing theme park with a
Hollywood setting.
with a miniaturized, it's a small world setup as your town greeter. Get those fairy tale creatures in there, set up your amusement park, and make all the gold that you. Hey, honey, he just took one of your.
What do you grab? Goose.
1 second, guys. We've got a rambunctious cat. Be right back. I got it. No, I'm already up and moving.
I like that picture. I like that picture of you, Ambassador.
That's a good one.
You rascal. You want beanie baby, please.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is just my 80s self that I made a few months back.
Nice.
It's like a Gen X. It's like a Gen Xer without a cause.
Did you know that
Anyway, okay.
Janine Garofalo was originally supposed to be Princess Fiona?
I could see that. Actually, I think I would have liked that because Janine Garofalo. I mean, I love her as a comedian. She's hilarious. I loved her in the movie I just mentioned a little while ago, Mystery Men, where she played the bowler, or daughter of the bowler, the bowler's daughter. Anyway,
I think Farquaad wants to banish the fairy tale. Getting back to your question, I think the reason why Farquaad wants to banish all the fairy tale creatures because he wants to have like a sense of perfection, basically. Because he's kind of like another person that we don't want to mention by name, but that's anti-Semitic. But basically, that person was that way. And I think Farquaad is the same way because he's like saying, you know what, I want this perfect fairy tale like village to live in, but I don't want any of the taintedness of it with it, the magic and stuff like that. I want to make it seem like it's just a regular village where I can be the ruler and nobody questions me. If it's the fairy tale people, they have magic and they'll try to do something to me along the way, maybe.
and justifiably so because you're an ass.
Right.
And of course, of course, one of my favorite scenes, and this is at the start of the movie, you got a bunch of villagers there stalking Shrek, and he's sitting down to have his lovely meal, which I'm going to say, if for an ogre, Shrek actually looks like a pretty good cook.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
some of his food I wouldn't eat, but some of the food that he makes actually looks somewhat appetizing, so I would try it.
Would you light his candles? The
No,
candles
because
give me
that's
some of the
earwax.
food.
That's
Yeah.
gross.
No. I'm just gonna say it though. Points for being somewhat environmentally conscious because he literally lives off the land. He
Right.
takes a bath in a mud bath essentially. He brushes his teeth with, I think, like a caterpillar or something on a cat's tail. Everything, not the cat's tail, the plant, not an actual cat's tail.
Right,
he didn't
right,
rip a cat off of a tail's cat off. Yeah, that's what I said. But then you've got all these villagers that are running through. They're creeping through the woods and everything. They got their torches and their pitchforks, and they're like, "There it is. There's the beast's lair." And they're like, "Let's go get him!" And they're like, "Are you crazy? Do you know what that thing will do to you? It'll grind your bones up to make your bread." He's like, "Oh no, Ogres, you're thinking of a giant. Ogres, they're far worse. They'll shave your lair. They'll squeeze the jelly from your eyes. Actually, it's quite good on toast.
And they're like, oh my God, let me get out of here.
And he yells and puts out all their torches, and he's like, "This is the part where you run away." And they all finally run
And they
get the
take off.
clue and
Yeah,
run
they
away.
drop all the porch forks and everything. Yep.
Now you notice he don't really want to hurt any of them. He just wants his peace and quiet. That's all.
I think he's
Yeah,
supposed to
he's-
scare him up a little bit. Yeah, it's like, get out of here. Come on, leave me alone.
that was what he was going.
He just
for.
wants to be left alone because, well, he feels like everybody's going to hate him just because he is an ogre. Because, well, ogres have a bad reputation, and I
Mhm.
don't think that necessarily has anything to do with Farquaad per se. I think
No.
it's just, well, he's an ogre. Ogres, by
He's
just
playing
their
the part.
name, are mean, or at least perceived to be mean. They don't bother, people don't bother to look at the layers.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we get the introduction of all the fairy tale creatures, and of course, one of our favorite characters.
Donkey.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if y'all recognize this or recognize the actress's voice or not. I don't remember her name offhand, but the lady who played the peasant who brought Donkey to turn him in was actually voiced by the actress who played the nun or the penguin in the Blues Brothers movie, the first one.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
I talk.
Yeah,
I love to talk. I'm the talkingest damn thing you've ever saw.
yeah.
And then
love
he's
when-
just standing there looking at him like, "What are you talking about,
Yeah.
lady? I can't talk. I can't talk at all.
Yeah,
I'm
then
just a donkey."
If he had just floated away and said nothing, he would have been fine.
true, but he's like,
No, but
nice
then we
little
wouldn't have.
the Dumbo reference with it.
But then we
Yes.
wouldn't have this. Then we wouldn't have this.
Oh, man, I can't feel my toe.
So we wouldn't have this iconic creature character that we all know and love. So
Yes,
that-
who wants waffles in the morning?
Eventually, just starts following Shrek around.
His
and-
noble steed.
His noble steed. That he's just like, why don't you go be happy somewhere else with your other donkeys?
with
I
all
don't
your
have-
other friends.
I don't have any.
I don't
friends.
have any friends.
You're the only friend I ever had.
because
And
he's
they
kind of
actu-
annoying.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing. Yes, he's annoying, but I think he just wants to be around people who like him and who will like
Mhm.
and that he wants to like. And at first it's kind of a relationship based on survival, because he's like, you can scare anything and anybody out of their wits or anything, so I'm just going to stick with you.
Pretty
Mhm.
much, yeah.
And then they get to his home and he's like, who decorated that? And like, or Shrek's like, I did. That would be
He's
my
like,
whole.
oh, my bad. He's the best ever.
And then he looks
Go
at the
outside
boulder.
and
He's like,
see.
I like that boulder. That is a nice boulder. And we'll stay up late swapping manly stories, and in the morning, I'm making
waffles.
Waffles, yeah.
But the question is, how would a donkey make waffles? He doesn't even have hands.
Yeah, he doesn't have opposable
True.
thumbs.
Yeah, he doesn't have fingers. He doesn't even have an opposable thumb. So how in the world is a donkey going to make waffles? Because it
don't
doesn't look
know.
like Shrek has a waffle maker. Yes,
And I
sir.
don't think he has anything to do it with like any of the ingredients either. He might have the eggs or something like that, but the flour stuff, highly doubtful.
Of course, we don't know. Maybe Shrek has some form of some version of a waffle maker there somewhere stashed away in his hut. We don't know.
Maybe. We don't know.
Possibly.
But let's see. Shrek and Toy Story are great. Not sure why my comment disappeared. CJ, your comment didn't disappear. It's right there. Anyway. Now, one thing we kind of need to discuss here is this movie is like, okay, came out in 2001. We got two. I think we got two Toy Story movies before this one came out, if I remember correctly.
I think we had at
And
least I think that sounds about right.
No, Toy Story 3 came out like 4 or 5 years after this, I think. But
Okay.
if you consider the level of CG, computer generated animation from Toy Story 1 to this, to Shrek, this was a very impressive looking movie in terms of the graphics. And I think because
Yeah.
it wasn't photorealistic, but the characters were very well fleshed out, very well designed. Yeah. Okay. So Toy Story 3 came out in 2010, so 9 years after this.
2 came out 1 year before. 2 years before Shrek. So yeah, 1 and 2, Toy Story 1 and Toy Story 2 came out before Shrek 1, and then Toy Story 3 did not come out till
2010.
Yeah, which is 9 years after the first Shrek or 7 years after Shrek 2.
Okay. Thank you, dear.
You're welcome.
So, but let me ask you, I mean, because we all grew up with traditional animation. We didn't get really introduced to computer generated animation until, like I said, Toy Story. But considering the development and the advances with CGI technology at the time, what'd y'all think? I mean, what were your impressions?
I mean, back then it was CG movies were still a novelty. I think completely CG movies like that, they were still a novelty back then. And I'm not sure when it stopped becoming a novelty, but I think that's what initially people liked about it was just the idea of it's a completely CG movie. You can do anything in these worlds. You can make anything look like anything. And here's a great example with this new DreamWorks and this Shrek movie, right? Where it's like they're taking all the fairy tale stories from that Disney has picked up on and stuff like that, and they're throwing them on their heads, and instead of like a Prince Charming or being the main protagonist or something like that, or a dragon being the antagonist or something like that, or an evil witch. It's the fairy godmother who's the antagonist, and an ogre who's the protagonist.
Yeah. Well, I think that was one of the other novelties of one of the interesting aspects of this movie, because people who grew up reading fairy tale stories, and Brothers Grimm and all that sort of thing, and obviously grew up with the Disney movies and everything, the adaptations of all those classic Grimm's fairy tales and all the other fairy tales from across the world, because as time went on, Disney did fairy tales from different parts of the world. I mean, obviously we got Aladdin, we got Mulan. I don't know if I wouldn't consider it a fairy tale per se, but the Hunchback of Notre Dame obviously is an adaptation of an adaptation of an adaptation, and that's not a bad thing. It's just they changed the source material somewhat to make it more approachable for children, which isn't a bad thing, because if you think about it, if you only have one particular version of a story like Hunchback of Notre Dame, children aren't going to necessarily be attracted to it, because it is somewhat horrifying. It is very dark. It is very dark and heavy source material. So them doing an adaptation of Hunchback for children, keeping some of the beats of the story makes sense and everything, but changing others so that kids don't get traumatized, like we did with movies like The Black Cauldron and so on. Not that was a bad movie. I love The Black Cauldron. I do. But I think the biggest thing was, of course, in 1999, we had two movies that really did a lot of groundbreaking computer-generated graphics and special effects. And, of course, that was The Phantom Menace, and, of course, one we mentioned a little while ago, The Matrix. But this took a new form of media and took a classic form of media and threw it into a blender and gave us this very unique movie. I mean, because let's be honest here, the first Shrek, it made a buttload of money and people were like, okay, this is really good. Are you going to do another one? And they left it off where they technically could do another one. And obviously they did. So.
Yeah.
To me, what's interesting is that because, like you were saying about the DreamWorks and all that. So another thing that's interesting is DreamWorks had just come off of their high of doing The Prince of Egypt 2 years about 3 years prior.
Oh yeah.
And then there was the Fox Animation Studio who had done Anastasia a couple years prior and stuff like that. And here it is that there's all these other studios that are making animation movie because Disney is slowly winding up their Renaissance era at this point and stuff like that. And they're starting to go into the computer generation era at this point. And basically, I think that's the reason why people were so drawn to this one. They're saying, we want the movies that we grew up watching as a kid, but this one takes everything we knew as a kid and turns it on its head. Where Shrek's is literally taking the book and just using it as toilet paper. He's literally taking the mirror and breaking it and saying, hey, you know what? Everything you thought about fairy tales, I'm going to turn it and make a 180 out of it and say, guess what? I'm going to keep you guessing what's going to happen next with the animation stories.
Yeah.
But they were also able to do it so well to where, I mean, even though it subverted your expectations in a lot of ways, it didn't do it in a way that was trying to like upset the audience or anything like that.
Right.
You know, I think it was well done, like well written, well planned. Yeah.
Well, and because you had a team you had writers, you had a director, you had actors who were all on board for this, and I think because this was kind of a risk. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of people now would say, yeah, Shrek hit just the right time when people were kind of getting bored with the same old in terms of Disney's fairy tales and so on. And this one comes along at just the right moment, and it's got this new shiny toy that movie studios are using, computer generated animation, and it told a story that was funny, that was engaging, was honestly very heartfelt because it does have a message in it that does resonate for everybody. Love can come in a form that you don't expect. And the person that you might not expect to accept you might be just the person that you need. Because Shrek was perfectly happy being on his own until he met Fiona and he met Donkey. And he realized, hey, there's actually people out there in the world who would put up with me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we all can relate to. And that's why I think that's one of the many reasons why the first movie was so successful. Because I don't know who else did, but the part at the end after they dragon eats Farquaad and spits out, or actually it's before that. And Fiona goes through her transformation, and you hear the spell done by the enchantress, or well, we come to find out later, fairy godmother. And she transforms and comes back down, and I got teary-eyed. I legitimately did. And I don't know if I'm probably not the only person that happened to, but we all hope that someday we'll find somebody that will, for lack of a better term, put up with us and all our little eccentricities and so on. And Shrek found that in Fiona, and Fiona found that in Shrek, because here she is, a woman, a human girl, who was had a curse put on her by a fairy godmother, and it was true love's kiss that was supposed to transform her, make her live her happily ever after. Except her happily ever after went a complete different direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's what I mean. Like it subverts your expectations a lot because, you know, like the way Fiona's life was planned or whatever. It's like, okay, well, she's gonna get married to, this baby at this age, and uh, you know, they're gonna be living here, and this is how her life is gonna be. And for a princess, the idea is for a princess that's boring. That's a boring life. I mean, yeah, it's you live in a nice place and you don't have to worry about making money or working, but I mean, your main purpose in life is to wait for your Prince Charming. That feels kind of like, you know, what am I going to do in the meantime? What if I don't like this Prince Charming? What if this? What if that?
Yeah, she doesn't want to be a Mary Sue. I mean, I get what Fiona's trying to be because I like the fact that she's not a Mary Sue. Sure, she acts like a Mary Sue, but then she holds her own. And I love the fact that she holds her own and says, you know what? I'm going to be my own hero. I'm going to defend myself if I need to. I mean, when she does that with Robin Hood and his men, she does that with, and then when she like fakes lying down on the bed with the flowers and everything like that, and he starts shaking her awake, and she's like, "What? Like, what do you want?" Because she's like, "How dare you?" But I mean, I love the fact that she does get her happily ever after. Maybe not the way the fairy godmother originally intended for her to do it, but she does get a happily ever after where she's with the man that she loves. She's maybe looks like an ogre, but you know what? She's happy. She's with the person she loves that supports her and says, you know what? I still see you as beautiful, even though you are an ogre. I see past that skin tone. I see past because she has something. She's got like a heart of gold, literally, because even with Donkey, she's so sweet and genuine to him because she's like, oh, this is your noble steed, instead of just making a joke out of saying, oh, you're in here on a donkey. How dare you? You're making a joke out of this. But she just lovingly accepts Donkey. And that's why when Donkey's like surprised, when she has to say, no, 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 Donkey, it's me, when he's like horrified when he sees the ogre version of her, like, did you eat the princess? And she's like, no, 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 no. And she lovingly caresses his nose and snout and says, no, it's me. It's okay. And he's like, princess?
And you know what? What I love about the second one, since we're talking about both of them anyway, is that he does become a noble steed for a little while. He does become a noble steed.
Yes.
And he's one of the most useful characters in the second movie. Like he plays such a larger role in the second movie. Right. And it's, which, in the second movie, now they're sharing the stage with Puss in Boots, who's Antonio Banderas.
Oh my gosh.
That was perfection for sure.
that was the perfect casting. Of course, Antonio Banderas did play Zorro. And
yes.
And he has his Mexican spice that you just kind of like put it on, and it's perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Antonio Banderas is by far one of my all-time favorite actors. I loved him as Puss in Boots in the other three movies, but his introduction in this one, when Shrek's or no, not Shrek, when Fiona's father, voiced by I think it's John Cleese, and her mother's voiced by John Cleese, and the mother, the Queen, voiced by Julie Andrews.
Queen Lillian,
could not have asked for better casting. Now I can't remember the name of the actress who did Fairy Godmother's voice, but she was wonderful too. Yes, I said, yeah, Fairy Godmother is a pain in the ass, and so is her son. And I gotta ask you, okay, I hate to keep bringing this up, but if she is a fairy, does she have all the other stuff that a normal woman would have? It just happens to be enchanted.
I think she does. We don't know anything about the husband because obviously he's got
the question. Okay, now that brings me to my next question. Did she have Prince Charming the old-fashioned way, with a actual human man, or was she elfishly intimidated?
Do you remember WandaVision, where she just kind of like willed those children into existence.
Yes, I do. Mm-hmm.
I think that's probably how it happened.
Or a potion. She made some kind of potion that made herself pregnant.
Or I don't know if y'all caught what I said. Was she elfishly inseminated? Artificially elfish, elven insemination. AEI. Artificial elven insemination.
Now you got me thinking of Disenchantment. Is it called?
Yes, it is.
Or it's a Matt Groening. It's a Matt Groening cartoon with but they have like there's an elf who's the offspring of an ogre and an elf.
Yeah.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh. I don't even want
He's
to think about what that
like
looks like.
a Bart Simpson, and his name is Elfo.
Oh, good.
He's like, "Hi, I'm
No.
Elfo."
No, you're not. Get away from me. Get away from me, Elfo. But Shrek 2, everybody after the actual smash success of the first movie, everybody's like, okay, are y'all gonna do another one? And then a year or so later, they're like, guess what? You're getting another one, and we're like, yay! Now what are you gonna do? Yes, we're getting a Shrek 2, and it's gonna be awesome, and it was awesome, and we were very happy because we got Donkey, we had Shrek and Fiona, and they're married now. And they had, of course, the Lord of the Rings had come out at this point. So they had the wedding ring scene where the wedding ring went onto her finger, just like the one ring went onto Winifred's finger, except it didn't have some evil.
It just says, "I love you."
Yeah, it just says "I love you" instead of some evil enchantment around the band and everything that would corrupt and rule the world.
But they go back
It's
to the
the
Disney,
dark-
making fun of the Disney stuff where she literally takes Ariel, who's kissing on Shrek, and flings her.
Throws her back. Oh no! But
into the ocean.
Like, get out of here!
Yeah,
This isn't your story.
But here's the other part of that you forget. I don't know if you remember this. After Fiona throws Ariel or the mermaid back into the ocean, a shark eats her.
The shark eats
A shark
like
eats
3
her.
Sharks like, yeah, there's like 2. Yeah.
Like King
And of
Triton or
course-
King Neptune or whatever ain't gonna be too happy.
Of
Right,
course, you don't see her face in that because they didn't want to get sued.
Well, and if I remember correctly, I don't think the mermaid had red hair, so I think they had a workaround on that.
She did have red hair.
Oh, she did? Oh, okay.
She
I
did.
couldn't remember. It's been a little bit since I've seen Shrek 2, so I remember the mermaid, but I couldn't remember.
The only thing is they don't show her face. Like when they fling her, it's fast enough to where you don't see her face. But otherwise, she looked with the red. She had the red hair. She had the green
the purple clamshells. Yes,
with the purple clamshells, and that's all she wears. So,
well, she is a mermaid. I mean,
that's when Disney was trying to do their sequels too.
My mind just went to another place. How exactly would you have intercourse with a mermaid? She doesn't have any lady parts.
Well, that's why they had to make her into a human lady.
So she would have lady parts.
Yeah, that's why she's a mother later on in one of the sequels.
Yes, when she becomes permanently human.
Yeah. Which was a stupid sequel, honestly, in my opinion. But anyway,
I have honestly never seen any of the direct-to-video sequels of any of the
You're
Disney.
not missing much, honestly. You are not missing much.
The only 2 I've ever seen are the ones for Aladdin, 2 and Aladdin 3. Those were okay.
3 is the better one.
Well, yeah, of course, because they had Robin Williams and they had Sean Connery. They got Robin Williams back instead of Dan Castellaneta, the voice of Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
And they had Sean Connery as Aladdin's father, and I'm thinking, okay. I mean, I like Sean Connery. He can be kind of a jerk at times, but I still like him as an actor. But we're getting a little off track here.
True.
But I will say this. Compared to the direct-to-video sequels of the Disney era, Shrek 2 is a sequel that I'm not going to say surpasses the original, but it meets the bar and maybe goes a little bit above the bar of the original.
Right.
Because this movie just builds out the world a little bit more. And from the opening montage where you see Shrek and Fiona on their honeymoon, and they're in a natural spring jacuzzi, and they're capturing fairies and using them, putting them in glass jars and using them as lights, and they're both passing gas and they're stinking out all the fairies.
Yeah.
The fairies go,
we're dying in there. We're dying. Please just put us out of our misery. We can't take this ogre gas anymore. Please make it stop. Like, please make it stop. It stinks in there. But I have to admit, when I heard that we were going to meet Fiona's parents, and who was doing the voice of Fiona's parents, I was like, I have died and gone to nerd nirvana. Because you've got Mary Poppins and one of the funniest members of the Monty Python crew doing the voices of Fiona's parents. This is almost like when they cast Barbara Streisand and Dustin Hoffman as Ben Stiller's parents and Meet the Fockers. That was a brilliant casting. Absolutely brilliant. And, you know, Julie Andrews, God love her and everything. She you know, in her later years, she has gotten into the voice acting niche, or the narration niche, particularly doing the voice of Lady Whistledown on Bridgerton, for anybody who likes Bridgerton or has ever seen Bridgerton.
Ooh, okay.
Ma'am and Bastard got me into it. I love the first 3 seasons. I have not seen season 4 yet. I'm not saying I want to, because she said it's been good so far. But Julie Andrews as Fiona's mom, and just, she's delightful. And
yeah, she's sassy.
Yeah, I agree.
And John freaking Cleese as Fiona's dad. And the thing I like is they try to incorporate some actual facial features, at least with the human characters, into of the voice actors, and this has been done for the longest time and everything with animation. If it's a well-known voice actor or actress, they try to incorporate some of the facial features into the character that they're voicing. And the design that they did for Fiona's mom and dad, just, I love it. I do. So let me ask you, Jack and Alicia, some of your favorite parts of Shrek 2.
For me, I think it's probably meeting Puss in Boots, obviously. Where we get to meet them. And I also like where we get to see the whole scene where they're in the factory at the fairy godmothers and stuff like that, which is hilarious. That's a fun scene and stuff like that, because and then the aftermath afterwards, and then when she's doing the whole performance trying to distract him at the party and stuff like that, the fairy
holding out for a hero. I need a hero.
she turns her wand into a microphone and stuff like that. But she does a really good job with that. Another good scene that I really enjoyed was probably where we find out at the very end about Fiona's dad, Harold, that he's actually a frog that's been turned into a human and stuff like that. I was like, oh, that's an interesting twist. And you think, well, you would think he'd be a little bit more understanding, but then I'm glad that he's finally understanding of Shrek and says, you know what, I was wrong. And then the whole dinner scene before that, at the very beginning, is like the vast contrast where they're pulling apart the lobster, pulling apart the pig, and then at the very end when he finally welcomes Shrek and says, you know what, you are my son. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for my daughter. You know what? You have my blessing. So I like that.
She took all my favorite parts. So I mean, obviously, like the idea of Puss in Boots, like he starts off as like a Zorro thing type of thing. He's also a cat. So there's like the moment where like he gets thrown and you hear "Row" or something like that. Like it's hilarious. Like whenever he does little cat things. And then of course the thing I like most about his moves, Antonio Banderas, his characters always have like one like a just a one like some smooth move or something like that. Like when he was in Desperado. My favorite my favorite part in Desperado is when they find out he's the guy with the guitar case full of guns, and he's just trying to say, I'm not here to cause any trouble. I'm just looking for a guy who calls himself, and they're about to shoot him, and so he's like, not yet, and then. When he does that, not yet, it's the smoothest fucking thing. I do not do it any service, but then he pulls these guns out of his sleeve and he just starts shooting everyone. It's the beginning of one of my favorite gun scenes ever. Anyways, he brings that same gravitas into his eyes when he's Puss in Boots. When he does the kitty eye thing with the big eye. And it's like, oh, it's just a kitty.
And then he goes evil. Yeah. Then he attacks him and kicks everybody's ass.
Yeah.
I have to say, a couple of my favorite scenes, a couple of my favorite lines. Right after the transformation, and they're in Far, Far Away, and Fiona sees Donkey, but doesn't realize it's Donkey, and she looks and puts this thing on Donkey's ass. Well, on his back, not his ass, on his back. And she's like, Shrek. And he turns around and he's like, baby, for you, I could be.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. That was really good.
Another one of my favorite scenes is the. Honestly, it's the opening narration with Charming when he's riding to the castle, and he's like, "I got to." He's talking. He gets back. He's like, "All I found was a gender confused werewolf."
By the way, I did notice that when he was at when that was the big bad wolf, when he was on the bed, he was reading a magazine called Pork Illustrated, and the cover was like a large pig in a bikini.
Yes.
Like, yeah. It's easy to miss, but if you go back and watch it,
and pause at just the right moment, you see Pork Illustrated.
Oh my
Pork
God.
Illustrated.
Pork Illustrated. Well, I guess they would have. I guess they would have some sort of. Okay, I'm just gonna say they would have some sort of fantasy pornographic material in Far, Far Away. I mean, they have knights. They have the show Knights instead of cops. It's knights. So I guess go to the ye old smut shop. Go to the ye old adult bookstore.
Well, you see the way Farquaad was spied on Fiona with the mirror kind of thing.
Oh
Like
my
a
God.
creep.
Well, yeah, going back to that, it was like he's laying there in bed and he's drinking a cocktail and he's got the magic mirror and he's like, show her to me again, show me the princess. And he looks underneath the sheets and he kind of does a little bit of a fourth wall break, and you're like, get me out of the scene. I don't want to see this midget pleasuring himself.
Right.
Because no, I don't need to know about the sexual activity of a midget.
Yeah,
because let's be honest here. Okay, I got a question. Would we categorize Farquaad as a midget? Or okay, I don't want to say midget because I know that's kind of derogatory stuff. Would we categorize him as a dwarf? Or is he just a really short? Or is he just a really short guy?
No, he's definitely a dwarf. I think he.
Yeah, I think he's a dwarf.
I think he's about the same size as a dwarf. So yeah.
because
Yeah,
like
I think-
I'm trying to think of the difference between like my father and my grandmother. My father was short, but my grandmother was even shorter. But she didn't qualify as a little
A dwarf.
person. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I don't know.
Anyway, but okay, and another favorite scene of mine when they when I think it's okay, it's Pinocchio, it's the three blind mice, and it's Gingy who goes to save Shrek and Donkey.
Yeah.
And they're and they rappel down very Mission Impossible 1 style
Yes.
and everything. And Pinocchio's doing his best Ethan Hunt impersonation as the master spy and the master gymnast and everything. And they're like, he's like, I can't. Gingy's like, I can't reach him. They're like, tell a lie. No, wait, it was also the three little pigs. The three little pigs were with
Yes. Three little pigs.
It was the
Yes,
three
with the
little pigs, it was Gingy, and it was Pinocchio.
Yeah.
And they're like, tell a lie. Say you're wearing women's underwear. I am wearing women's. I'm not wearing women's underwear. And then Gingy's like, it's a thong. And we're like,
It's the briefs. I swear they're briefs. And you just keep lying until he reaches him.
And you just ruined Pinocchio for everybody.
Even though Pinocchio is not exactly kid friendly, if you read the actual novelization of Pinocchio, is
That's
awful.
what I've heard. Yeah, that is what I have heard.
Yeah,
he's awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Pinocchio. But the one in the Shrek universe is even. I mean, he's still wild, but he's still toned down compared to the novel version. I'll say that much.
Yeah, I've done some research on the actual Pinocchio story, and yeah, it's a little out there. It's a little dark.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Okay, and I had to look this up after I watched Shrek 2 the last time. There was a song that they did and everything during the whole when Shrek and Donkey and Puss in Boots infiltrate Fairy Godmother's factory. And the song is "Falling in Love with Someone You Shouldn't Have Fallen in Love With." I actually I watched the music video and listened to the whole song. I'm like, this actually fit for this movie, even though Shrek and Fiona were meant for each other. I think, but but at that time, everything when things were kind of up in the air, like, okay, am I really meant for Fiona as I am, or should I take this potion and drink it and turn into her ideal? And she would turn it back into a human herself. But in the end, they realized, yeah, we're actually meant to be together. We're meant to be like this. And, you know, it's just everything. It reaffirms what they knew in the first movie, but they had to go through this journey to, you know, really learn and understand that, yeah, they are not a typical couple. This is not a typical fairy tale. Just like Fairy Godmother says to Shrek, she's like, no ogre in this story, no ogre in that story, no ogre. No ogres are supposed to have happy endings. Wrong, lady. In your universe, ogres can't have happy endings. Here, they can. Now, I do want to discuss the character of Fairy Godmother for just a minute and everything, if y'all don't mind. Because I find her, even though, yeah, I've called her a bitch, and she kind of is, I find her to be the superior of the two villains in the first two movies thus far and everything. Now, granted, everything, we've got the other two movies to discuss yet. But let me ask you, who of the villains, who did you quote unquote find more?
I think Fairy Godmother was the better. Yeah, especially since she like did that whole song and dance with the holding out for a hero.
Yeah.
You know, and but like, so just a little off topic. We were talking about Kevin Smith. His first trailer for the He-Man cartoon that he did actually used the same song in its
Mhm.
trailer. It looked so good. It looked so good. Like,
Mhm. I
well,
will
anyway,
I will admit, and everything, I'll say this, I know I'm probably gonna be committing some form of geek heresy here, but I actually liked the Masters of the Universe anime series that they did on Netflix that Kevin Smith did. I think it
right.
expanded on the lore. I think the development of the characters was good. I thought the animation was really good.
The animation
Um,
was excellent. I have nothing to say about the animation and the artwork. It was excellent.
yeah. Now, I don't know if you probably the two of you probably know this. We are getting a new live action Master of the Universe film coming out this year,
Yes.
and I'll say it. I am um cautiously optimistic. It does look
Yes,
promising. I
yes.
think
I
I
was.
think
Go
I
ahead.
think it's gonna do a lot better service to the franchise than the one that they did in the 80s.
I, yeah, I will agree with that. I mean, so the '80s movie, I will say that like there's a reason why it bombed, and it was because they were going for something, but then they didn't give it the budget that it was supposed to
Mhm.
have, or the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also like it was, it was going to be if it was going to be very hard to put certain characters that were in the cartoon into the movie. The reason why there was no Orko in the '87 one was because they just couldn't figure out how to do it with the budget that they had.
Yeah,
And I get it.
exactly.
When they replaced it with Wildor, I'm like, anyway. But
But
I do think this one is going to be better in that aesthetically. It looks
mhm.
more like the cartoon. They
It
even
takes more
brought Adam in there, and he's dressed
Mhm.
the same way. So
Well, and here's the thing too. I do like the idea of him being sent to an alternate dimension, that alternate dimension obviously being our Earth. And alternate dimensions have been used in films before of this kind, and it has worked. It's kind of like with the Sonic movies, because Sonic exists in a alternate dimension or alternate universe, and he crossed
sure.
over. So it worked there, and and honestly, um, I think it'll work better here with the budget now because you're gonna have. Yes, I know that they cast Idris Elba as Man at Arms, but you know what? I like Idris Elba. I think he'll make a good Man at Arms.
I wasn't I wasn't really that was. So what I'm more worried about is Frank, not Franklin Joe. What I'm more worried about is the Skeletor that we have,
Mm,
who's played by Jared Leto.
Mhm.
Uh, so he looked what I can tell why they cast him for the role. He looks like he could be a good Kildor, and I think that's why they
mhm.
cast him.
Yeah,
Um, but he's had issues
in the
with playing
past.
villains before, and I mean, I don't know. I hope he's learned from those lessons, and I hope he makes a good Skeletor. I like the way he looks in the movie as Skeletor, but we'll see how
Yes, because
they haven't shown him speak yet. That's going to be the most important part.
that's going to be the big thing. Yeah, because you're of course going back to the original Skeletor way back in the 80s, and then of course you've got this guy who does these Skeletor shorts. I'm sure people have seen him on Instagram, and where he's like, "Did you
Skeletor.
know?" Yeah, I think the
Mm.
guy's name is Isaac Wells.
Is
I
it?
think is
Okay.
the guy that does those and
Okay.
everything. He's on so, but you know, Masters of the Universe is a franchise that has had its ups and downs throughout the years. I mean, it was big in the 80s, and then it kind of crashed and burned with the toys, and then of course with the movie, and then they tried to do a revamp of the cartoon, and the cartoon stunk, and then it just kind of went dormant for a while, and then like in the early to mid like 2000s, they did another cartoon
Right, which we're
actually
watching right
looked
now.
which actually looked really good, and I actually got to watch some of it, and I was like, this actually works. Why didn't it go longer? And I'm like, why did it get canceled? And I think, oh yeah, that's right. It was through Cartoon Network, and Cartoon
It was
Network.
it, it was Cartoon Network, and they just didn't have enough views, and they canceled it.
Yeah.
by
I
the
don't see
second
how
season.
because it was such
The-
a. I don't,
In the
such
third, the
damage.
idea was in the third season they were going to bring in She-Ra and that lore, but it never made it to that. But that would have been so with
That would
the
have
way
been
they
cool.
were doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the way they were doing it, they gave everyone like proper origin stories and everything. It would have been really cool to see like She-Ra like put into that. And unfortunately, the only time we're ever going to see them together is in those cartoons from the 80s.
Unless this movie does well and they eventually are able to go that far where they can bring She-Ra in, because
I think
Madam
they wanna
Ambassador is.
I think they want to
Go ahead,
treat
Jay.
them as separate franchises now, like completely separate, is what I've been told. I don't know. I mean, they might. I don't know, but we'll see.
The thing is, you really can't do them as separate franchises because one cannot exist without the other because the franchises are linked. Because if I remember correctly, they're cousins.
They're
kinda
brother and
like-
sister.
They're twin
Oh,
brother and sister, actually.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I couldn't remember if it was brother or sister or cousin, but I knew it was something along those lines.
yeah.
So-
And then Skeletor and Hordak broke into their castle and stole Adira.
Yeah, Adora.
Okay.
Yeah.
Adora.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, but but back to Shrek. Another one of my favorite moments is when they go to the Muffin Man on Drury Lane to commission
Yes.
Mega Gingy, or as they
That was
or didn't they call him Mongo or something?
yes.
Mongo, yeah. They had a name for a Mongo.
Mongo, yes.
Yeah. And then they
Yeah,
he was like their King Kong.
yeah,
basically.
in a way, because Shrek is literally riding on top of him and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I have
And
to admit the whole breaking into the castle and everything to stop Fairy Godmother. That whole sequence was absolute magic. No
Yes,
pun intended.
Or when she goes to the drive-through, which that was hilarious too.
Oh,
when they
yeah.
open the drive-thru.
Oh yeah, and the villain bar. Or the villain,
Oh, yes.
the villain inn.
Poison apple, yes, that was so
Yes.
well
The
done.
poisoned
I feel-
apple.
Yes.
I feel like the villain pub from that one YouTube channel is based off of that.
How it should have ended. Yeah,
Yes.
is he?
From how it should have ended. I think the
Yes.
villain pub is based off of that.
It is. I guarantee it is because those guys. I haven't watched any of their stuff in a while, but they all their. I can't remember the last video of theirs that I watched. Actually, no, I can tell you the last video of theirs I watched. Not that I don't like their stuff anymore. I do. It's just I just haven't gotten back around to checking out any of their newer stuff. Was of course, I think the last one of theirs I watched was The Rise of Skywalker, and
Okay.
that made more sense than that damn movie. They did a better job than a multi-billion-dollar studio.
And
Hey.
that tells you something.
A YouTube channel with a few million subscribers did a better job than a multi-billion-dollar film studio, and they crafted a story that made more sense.
They did
Yeah.
the same thing for Terminator Dark Fate. They made a better ending for that movie.
Oh my
They had-
gosh!
Such a
They did
better
a whole
ending for that movie.
Yes.
Oh my
Or the
gosh!
Twilight stuff.
I have
They,
to.
they,
I
they
have
went to the beginning of the movie and just brought in Doc Brown and said, "You know what? Just come with me. Don't do these anymore. We're done."
Just stop. Yeah.
Yeah, the one series that although I guess they wouldn't have done because the movies. Well, they've done movies that were well received and everything, or that were popular and everything. They haven't done ones that have they've done it both ways. They've done movies that people really disliked and people like, oh yeah, this makes more sense than the actual movie. Or they've done ones where people like the movie and they're like, oh yeah, this is hilarious either way. So
Yeah.
so they take shots at everybody, and that's what I love. I'm kind of surprised though that they haven't done Shrek.
Maybe they're trying to figure out how to do it properly.
I wonder.
So, because honestly, at least with these first two movies, and the narrative is so well knit together for these first two movies because they could have gone in any number of directions, and they're like, no, we're going to give the people kind of what they expect, but not exactly what they expect.
Mm-hmm.
And Shrek 1 going into Shrek 2, it fits together. You establish the world, and then you expand it, and you actually get to far, far away, which is very far, far away.
Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
And by the way, like it's the far, far away kingdom is purposely like made to look like Hollywood, like the actual district,
like Beverly Hills,
Yes. Yes.
The Beverly Hills shopping district with all the fancy Versace, I think it is.
Versace.
Yeah, Versace, but it's archery, Versarchery.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And then you have all of
the yeah,
and then you've got all the well-known princesses. You got like Rapunzel, and you've got Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty and Snow White.
They
and
all
of
have
them.
their castles in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, missing the stars kind of thing. And they're riding on their onion coach.
Yeah, onion. It's not a pumpkin; it's an onion. But that what that makes sense because they both have layers.
Yep, that happens at the very end of the first one. You see them that turned into an onion, and then it goes back into the second one. So that's nice that they continue that. People
like parfaits. Parfait's got to be the most delicious thing on the whole damn planet. Question: Do you have a napkin? I'm kind of slobbering on myself about parfaits. I don't care what other people like.
Ogres are like onions.
Onions.
Are we there yet?
Well played, Donkey. Well played.
Who are you calling donkey?
I think we should give Donkey the last word there.
Oh, pick me! I know me!
Okay. One of my favorite lines from Shrek 2 that Donkey says, "The part of annoying pet sidekick has already been filled."
Already been taken, yes.
That was funny.
That was very funny.
Well, here's the thing. You mentioned, Jack, earlier that Antonio Banderas had done the Mask of Zorro movie a few years. It would say, okay, Mask of Zorro and then Legend of Zorro. Yeah, because Mask of Zorro was the good one. Because Legend of Zorro, man, that movie stuck.
Right.
But I love, Antonio Banderas is by far one of my favorite actors. And when I heard that he was going to be doing Puss in Boots, I was like, oh, you've got to give him a cool hat. And of course, they gave him a cool hat. I mean, of course, he had the boots, but they had to give him a cool hat.
Oh, look at his little bitty boots. I love the way Shrek says that, too. Look at the little wee boots. It's a cat.
But, Antonio Banderas in this movie, he really gets a chance to use his comedy chops, because he has some really good comedic timing in this movie. The thing I've always wondered, excuse me, I don't know if they did their recordings, they did, but if they did the timing or the editing was so damn good that it almost made you think that they were in a studio together, because the banter between Donkey and Puss is so tight and so well done that you're like, the editor earned his money with that particular bit of work. Because
and knowing Eddie Murphy, he might have ad-libbed a lot of stuff too.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
And here's the
other
thing.
You have to get Antonio in there in the same room.
I don't think they were in the same room, if I remember correctly. Either way, they have wonderful chemistry, those group does.
Oh, yeah, they did. They absolutely did. I reviewed Mask of Zorro, The 13th Warrior. Very grossly underrated film. 13th Warrior with Antonio Banderas. Love that damn movie.
Did you ever see him in the movie Evita? He's excellent in that one as well.
Honestly, I have not, and there's one particular reason. I can't buy Madonna as an actress. Fair enough.
I can respect that.
The only movie that I've seen her in and everything was, and Mama Master just mentioned this, was A League of Their Own.
Okay.
So, but that was about it. That's the only movie I've ever seen her in where I actually buy her as an actress. And
I just checked. It was sorry, I was going to say that John Rhys Davis was actually the one that was in Aladdin, the King of Thieves, instead of Sean Connery.
Oh, was it John Rhys Davies?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, they have very similar voices. I could see why you would say that. I thought it was too, but I had to look at it.
Okay, my bad.
No worries.
So, well, any final thoughts? Any thoughts on Shrek 1 and 2 before we wrap up?
I thought it was a movie that came out at the right time. As I said, like it parodied a lot of the not just the fairy tales from Disney, but it parodied a lot of other modern movies.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they stopped at some point. I'm just gonna say that.
Well, there is talk of a Shrek 5, and I'm kind of on the fence about it. I'm kind of interested to see what they'll do. I mean, because obviously they're able to do updated graphics and so on, but my question is, what story can they tell?
Right. And
is there a story there that you can do that's going to be convincing, entertaining, and engaging for this franchise? So that's my one question. So, but I want to thank all of you who joined us this evening for the stream. Of course, make sure you check this out on the replay. I will be posting this on my socials over on X and Instagram. So, and actually next Friday, me and Alicia and Jack will be back, and we'll be discussing Shrek 3 and Shrek 4. So be sure to tune in for that. And also tomorrow night, I will be joined by my friends Chris and Ace as we continue the Mel Brooks podcast. And this month, because we do these once a month, we with the Tarantino podcast, we did one a month, and with Mel Brooks, we're doing one a month. We're going to be discussing Young Frankenstein. So be sure to check those out and everything. Be sure to tune in. This will be at the same time as this stream was tonight at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, or whatever time zone you have to be in around the world somewhere. So, but Jack, Alicia, great having you on tonight. Great discussion.
Thanks.
Thank you all very, very much. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves. I know I did. So, because it's always good.
Yes.
So, but anyways, folks, You all have a great night. We will see you all next time, and I will see you all tomorrow night. But until then,
Well, how about a game of Parcheesi?
good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.